Hello lovely people, I'm Debs. Welcome back to my channel, Rain Read Stuff. I am here in the book shack, a bit later than normal for a Sunday, but it's nice and cool. Temperatures dropped considerably. I spent half the day today sitting under the umbrella in the garden, which we've taped up to try and stop it squeaking, in the rain, and it was beautiful. It's Sunday, I'm going to do my weekly reading wrap up. I've had a really fun week. And a reasonably successful one, considering the last couple of months have been a bit of a disaster for me. This week has been a lot better. Let's start with ones that I haven't finished, because we're reading over the course of the month and I'm just keeping up with the program, basically. So the first one is For the Summer of Steinbeck. I'll list all the participants that I can below. Last month we read The Grapes of Wrath, which I just thought was fabulous. I'm reading, I had a hard copy of last month. I don't have a hard copy of this month, so I'm reading from the Delphi Classics, which tells me it's the complete works of John Steinbeck, but it isn't. It does, however, include this month's read, which is East of Eden, and it's fabulous. There's two things I think that I love most about John Steinbeck. Firstly, it's not remotely flowery. He doesn't use unnecessary words. The words are concise and convey meaning perfectly. And the second one is that he really seems to have a knack of getting into the psyche of people, different people, and figuring out how they tick, what motivates them, how they interact with other people. And I love that about his writing. I'm really looking forward to finishing this. I'm hoping I can contain myself to the schedule, but who knows? Who knows? Next up, that I'm midway through, because this is also a group read and I'm trying to spread it out over the month. This is for Jane Austen, July. Again, details below. And this is Emma. I love this book. I've read all of Jane Austen's big six novels and most of the shorter, unfinished, and juvenilia. I think, though, that Emma is probably the one that I have read the least. So I'm enjoying this reread. Emma's a bit of a matchmaker. Very well to do, takes people under her wing and tries to find romances for them. It's not my favourite, which is probably why I haven't read it as many times. Mansfield Park is my favourite. And I think I've read that, Sense and Sensibility, and probably Northanger Abbey more than the other three. But they're all good reads, and I am enjoying this. Now, there are some fabulous events this month. One is a new one. Private Investigator July. PI July. Hosts and co-hosts below. One of the co-hosts is Greg at Ghost Readers in the Sky. And he did a video the other day of the books that made me, and mentioned a character called Encyclopedia Brown, who I'd never heard of, but apparently is everyone's favourite boy detective. Donald J. Sobol created Encyclopedia Brown, and this is the first book of many about Encyclopedia Brown. His name's actually Leroy. He's called Encyclopedia because he knows such a lot. He is the son of the town's police chief, and unbeknown to anyone other than his parents, he helps his dad solve crimes. His mother says one day that maybe he'll grow up to be a detective, and he thinks, why wait? So he goes into his garage and he sets up his little detective agency. He distributes flyers around the neighborhood, puts a sign outside, charges people 25 cents a day plus expenses for his services. This included, I think, 10 self-contained short stories. And what I liked about them most, I think, is that they were all riddles. So you get the story, and then Encyclopedia Brown delivers his verdict, and then you get a, how did he know that? And you turn to the back of the book, and it explains how he knew that, how that was the right answer and he couldn't have come to any other conclusion. A couple of them I guessed, but not all of them. They were good. I also read this, Murder at Monk's Barn by Cecil Waye. I'd not heard of Cecil Waye. What I did was type into Google private detectives from the 1930s. It came up with this. I tracked it down. It was very cheap. I purchased it. What the book says about Cecil Waye is that it was a pseudonym of Cecil John Charles Street, who was born in 1884 and died in 1964, who had a career in the British Army and then became a very prolific writer. He produced 2 long series of novels, one under the pseudonym John Rode, and that featured a forensic scientist called Dr. Priestley. He wrote another quite long series under the name of Miles Burton. But as Cecil Waye, he wrote 4 novels, the first of which was Murder at Monk's Barn, which feature a brother and sister duo, private detectives, who are now running a company called Perrins, Perrin being their surname, which was set up by their father. So you have Christopher and Vivian Perrin. And one day, a gentleman comes to see them whose brother has been murdered. He was shot whilst shaving in his bedroom on the first floor of a house in the dark, straight through the head. Interestingly, the curtains were closed, and there's a hole in the curtain where the shots come through. And Austen, the brother, doesn't believe Gilbert, the older brother, was killed by the man that the police suspect, and hires Christopher and Vivian to investigate. What I liked about this book was it was very much Golden Age crime, and I love Golden Age crime. I like the fact that Vivian played such a major role in uncovering the truth behind this and a subsequent murder. she wasn't insipid. There were tears. And as is wont to happen in books from that period, she did fall in love with her client very speedily. And I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. I mean, I can understand the falling in love bit. But at the beginning of the 20th century, in books, people seem to do that very quickly. And then get married and live happily ever after knowing each other a fortnight. It's a little unrealistic. However, the book was great fun. I absolutely loved it. And there's 3 more. The Figure of 8, The End of the Chase, and The Prime Minister's Pencil. I'm not sure I'll read them this year for PI July, but I am very tempted to continue until I've read them all. Finally, it's Rocket Summer. I love sci-fi. Do you know what was missing from my sci-fi education? Edgar Rice Burroughs. And so I read A Princess of Mars. Look, Penguin Classics. So it counts towards my 60 before 60 classics, which is amazing. And actually, I've only got 12 to go now. And I've got until October, the middle of October, to do it. So I'm well on track at the moment. I absolutely loved this book. John Carter is our protagonist. Again, falls in love a bit too easily. I think this, when was this written? 1912, sometime in the, between 1912 and 1916. I think in one place I found it said 1912 and the next one it said 1916. Anyway, early 20th century. It's really good. I like the development of the different species that living on Mars. I like the mystery of how John Carter got there in the first place. The adventure was great. It was a really easy read and I absolutely loved it. And I'm going to read more of these too. I can't guarantee I shall read loads for Rocket Summer this year, but I am definitely going to read more. I have more. I have another Delphi Classics collection. So that's my reading for this week. I had so much fun with everything I read. Oh, I also read an Edgar Allan Poe story from a science fiction collection. Let me see if I can find it, because I don't know what I've done with it. You know what I was saying about me erring and umming and ahhing, and well, this is one of those times. You have to wait until I've found what I'm looking for, because I haven't been organised enough to find it myself. Yep, this is one of those. Oh, here we go. Classic science fiction. It's called Classic Science Fiction and Fantasy Stories. A whole host of well-known authors in here. The story I read was called... Oh, it wasn't Edgar Allan Poe at all. It was Nathaniel Hawthorne. It was written in 1837. It was called Dr. Heidegger's Experiment. Wasn't really sci-fi. It was an interesting story about the Fountain of Youth and waters from the Fountain of Youth. Didn't really think it was science fiction though, but it was fun. So that was the only other thing I've read this week. But I had lots of fun. I so enjoyed the 2 PI books that I read and the Edgar Rice Burroughs first Martian book, and I am loving East of Eden and also Emma. I also enjoy the variety. So that's me. Sorry, my phone keeps pinging. Oh, good grief. I shall be back sometime this week. I won't overload you like I did with this week, but I do want to thank you for all the love for the video that I put up for my 2nd anniversary plus 1 day, because I forgot it was my 2nd anniversary. Thank you for popping by. Let me know what you're reading. If you're taking part in any of these events, especially, let me know what you're reading. And I shall speak to you again soon. Bye for now.